The festival is nigh!
Ginger, are you ready?
I'm ready.
And let's go ahead and start this thing. All right, Ginger, center square.
Wormface, in honor of Chris. A little inside joke with each other.
I will go for Lord of Blood. Give
Ooh,
it to
that
me.
would be
Give it to
hot.
me. Acquire 10 Sacred Flask Charges is the center square.
Okay.
As always, we will start by looking. Well, I do see Wormface on the board.
Oh,
But as a,
let's go.
as a start, we will go with the early rush squares overall. Not a ton of early rushes on this board. Nothing like the Tree Sentinel +0 or Geel. Actually, that's not true. We do see Boss on Torrent. That's probably definitely the fastest square on the board.
Yep.
We also have Restore Godric's Great Rune, which could be done quickly and synergize with Dupe or Remembrance at a Mausoleum. Falling Star Beast is a really fast one as well. One that I particularly like because you can get the Somber 6 from it and then get a Somber 5 right outside the cave. Now, Red Wolf, another really nice opener play. I know that is a favorite play from the Cult of Bushy and his followers. He loves the Red Wolf Top's Key opener because of the Liurnia progress that it gets and all the runes that you acquire to help get your weapon online. I would not be looking at this. I would not be surprised if both players went for Boss on Torrent, but realistically, I would expect for some sort of divergence after that. Looking at the late game, we do have some big fights on the board. We have Radahn, who's not exactly late game anymore, but is a big fight, always fun to see. We do have Valiant Gargs after Radahn, though, which is a big fight, and the Blackblade Kindred. So you better have a weapon that's good at killing gargoyles.
Yep.
Everything else seems fairly balanced. We do have a bit underground with the Ancestor Spirit and Scar Seals. Yeah, that's kind of my analysis. Ginger, what do you like on this board?
I like column 3.
That's Stocko's favorite column. You know, the way to beat Stocko is just simply rush column 3. Or so I've heard.
I like the combo with the explosive physic and the sacred flask charges as the center square. I feel like they pair really well together. Getting through a lot of that, you also get board progress, which can get you some of these other squares as well.
You're sacred, not physic tiers, sacred flask charges.
Yeah. You're right.
Okay, I did. Okay. I didn't know if you had that. If you did that again.
Yep. I was doing that again.
Yeah. Chris did it last time, so I swear if he does it on center square here today, I will lose my mind.
It looks so similar to the physics.
No, it's very easy to do because like oftentimes when you're reading the board, you're not like I know when you're like, oh, like how do you not read? It's like, well, there's a lot of information. You're not exactly like reading the entire board. You're kind of just like 10 flask. Okay, physic flask.
Yep. So that does change it for me.
Yeah.
Because I did that in a match, and I read it correctly the first time, and then the second time later, as the match was going on, I just kept like seeing acquire 10 and being like, okay, that's tears. Go for tears.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris did confuse the flasks and tears last time. Nartok was pretty well ahead at that point, so I don't know if it would have changed the outcome of the match, but obviously you never want to see a person mismark. And honestly, I gotta say, of course, I'm probably gonna jinx it now, so I'll knock on wood, but players have been really good this season about not mismarking. We've only had a couple of mismarks. I mean, hell, last season, the Crucible, I think Ginger had more mismarks in one game than we've had the entire season so far. So...
The wife debuff got me there.
Yeah.
Hey, I still won by bingo.
Hey, you still got your bingo. Yeah, that was funny. You literally you only saw the squares on your bingo line and you completed other squares on the board and you just didn't mark.
You get tunnel vision, man.
Yeah.
when you're rushing a bingo line, that tunnel vision could set in. I feel like I've done better. I don't think I've mismarked this season.
No,
yet.
I think you've been much better about it. Yeah.
In practice, I have a couple times, but in like the matches, the official matches, I think I've been pretty good with it.
Yeah. Interesting. Chris did not even grab first step there.
It looks like he's just
I think
full
he's
sending
hard rushing
torrent
boss
only.
on torrent. Yeah, he
Mm-hmm.
is a little bit. His stream is a little bit behind Stocko's. He's in a very different part of the world, so he will have a bit more stream delay than Stocko. So he's actually well ahead here.
Yep. I do like that they both went with the same class. It gives us a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
interesting because there's not much of a change in stats or anything like that. So we'll see. It all comes down at this point to what weapon checks they do, and do they decide to go with the same weapon or not?
Yeah. Yeah, so Chris will have Strain and Graveyard, but unless he sent the elevator back down, he will have to go up again. My guess would be he just runs on Torrent from Aguil Lake South to wherever
Yep.
he needs to go. Or Aguil Lake North, my apologies. I always say Aguil Lake South because it's south of Gatefront, but it is north of the lake. Yeah, I wonder if this has to be a boss on Torrent play from Chris. Like, you don't
Yeah.
skip first step on this board if not for boss on Torrent. And you can see he's already even angling his camera that way.
Yep. It's gonna be a race here for it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both going for it. So let's go ahead and get some early hype music on.
We got ourselves a race.
I like having, for me, like first game of the match day, I love having a little race right at the start just to kind of like, you know, get the blood pumping, right? Before a big day, at the start of a big day of matches.
Now, will they both grab the one here, or are they just
Neither of
sending it?
them are. If Chris grabbed the
Yep.
one and didn't grab first step, I would lose it.
Yep. Saves a little bit of money, but it's not worth losing the square for.
Chris is getting tagged early.
Yep.
Chris gets the first to get the stun. Has to heal though. One more hit will do it for Chris. That should be the square for
Ooh,
Chris.
So close. Yep.
Yeah, it was very close, but the square will go to Chris. He was just a little bit behind. Chris was faster in the fight because he didn't grab first step. That was the difference.
Chris, seeming like he's having a little bit of trouble deciding what to do there, does decide to warp out. Looked like he was going to run out and potentially go to Fort Height.
Yeah.
Or
Looks like he's
Physic.
going to Liurnia. Stocko might be going straight for that Falling Star Beast or just a general Caleb play. We'll see
Yep.
what's in the Great Sword check. Alabaster Lord Sword. That's a big one.
Ooh. That is quite nice.
Yeah.
He's happy about it.
Yeah. Chris was also a
I've-
bit behind in stream delay, so even though like on screen it was the exact same time, I think Chris was a few seconds ahead there.
I've never seen that big scruffy dog go down there with the rats.
I have not
That's
either,
first for
actually.
me. Honestly, that scared me a bit, because sometimes
Yeah.
those rats can hit you even when you're on the chest, and that dog, I'm sure, would be even more likely to.
Can I pet that dog?
Can I pet that dog?
Also, Alabaster,
that
I think,
meme.
is only one level away from being online. I believe these players started with 10 strength, so all you need is one more. Stocko's gonna grab the Rot Grease, so I'm curious if he does go back in for the Beast. It would be lovely to have Alabaster on this fight because it does actually do bonus damage against the Falling Star Beast. since it is a gravity type enemy. Chris is actually going straight from Margit. Looks like he's going to be looking at the Restore Godric's Great Rune Duper Remembrance play.
Which is a very strong play. Restoring Godric's Great Rune, I think we've got something like 45 levels, which is just absolutely insane.
Yeah. Obviously, not all of them are useful. You don't necessarily need the arcane in a bingo match most of the time.
Yep.
At the very least, you don't need arcane, faith, and int, but...
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Stocko's struggling a little bit on his Salia skip here.
Oof.
Chris lubed up the branches before the match. But we'll go full screen with Chris here for the first time today as he fights Margit.
God, Alabastus is just so good. It's just melting the health away.
Stocko does get his Celia skip there. Oof. Nice roll by Chris. Nice there by Chris.
Oh,
just
yeah.
really getting out of it. This class started with like no health.
I have noticed a lot of classes have been pretty low on the health lately.
Well, I think it's because people look so much at this, like, to get a starting weapon online, you want more stats allocated in strength and in dex, typically.
Yep.
So you're not, it's like, a lot of times players are like, hey, I have a weapon online, just simply don't get hit, right?
Yep. Well
Nice.
done, Chris, there.
Yeah, very nicely done getting through Margit. Obviously,
I like
got...
that. Good.
For bingo, that's super clean. I know you might be watching like, oh, he got hit, whatever. In bingo, who cares? It's about speed. Like, don't die, go fast. Like that. If you get hit, doesn't matter, as long as you're fast.
And on the note of speed there, if you notice, he did not take the riposte there at the end, which would have killed, but he instead opted for the 2 R2s, which is objectively much faster. And so if you don't have to take the riposte to get the kill, then you should avoid it as much as possible.
Yeah. I gotta say, you can just kind of see it in his eyes. Chris looks really locked in today.
Oh, yeah. He came to game.
Yeah. I think he knows, like, this league's just too competitive. It's a mid-length season, I would say. Like, 9 games is not super long, but it's not super short either. You cannot afford to start 0-2. And I think Chris knows that he has a big game. Like, Stocko's a big test. And look, if he wants to make playoffs, I mean, he still could win out and whatnot. But, like, you need to get a win on the board.
Yep. Yeah, you can see the determination in his eyes as he's running through here. Just full focus mode.
And Stocko still has not done the greatsword check. I wonder if, like, Chris survives on 1. Oh my god. Ah.
Oh my.
Heal, you psycho.
That is insanely close.
Yeah.
So we will see a Yura kill here.
Yeah.
Because Eleonora is on the board. It is a katana check. I'm still hoping for that meteoric ore blade. Charge Forth is just very good against this NPC here. You just keep juggling him.
The hell is that?
Let's see what the katana is for Stocko. I mean, he needs to do the greatsword check. Like, I don't know. I'm taking out about
Give me something good to
Uchi.
eat. Fuck you. Fuck you. Give me
Wait,
something
Uch?
good.
Oh, no, Vanilla's Nagakiba. I was like, wait, was that Vanilla?
We do have Godric on the board.
Yep, Godric on the board.
Sorry, on the screen.
On the screen, yeah. I know you bet, yeah. Once Stocko gets John Alabaster online, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes straight for that Falling Star Beast. With the Grace already set up, that's what I would do. Because it's a little, I mean, he might try to contest Stormville here, but it's a little late, right?
Yep.
You're very much at risk of getting sniped if you decide to contest Stormville. Obviously, he doesn't know that Chris is not in Stormville, but it's very highly probable that he could have gone immediately to Stormville after Boss on Torrent. Yep, and Stocko is going for the Beast.
Okay. I have really become a fan of the Falling Star Beast early, just like you, because like you said, like getting that 6 with the 5 right next to it is just really powerful.
Yeah, it's a risky play, like, because it is a longer fight. You cannot really afford to mess it up. But it is very strong if you do get it. And a really nice Godric there from Chris. We'll go check in with Stocko.
Well done, Chris. Stocko opting not to do the skip.
Oh.
Oh,
God.
really
Yeah,
wild
Stocko-
not to heal there.
Yeah. I mean, I think he just wanted to get away from the cum bugs.
Yeah, I fear that the Kumbug would then just,
Fuck
you know,
bro.
coom all over him again.
Oh, Stocko has the
That's
Uchi
scary.
online, actually. This should... Uchi with Rot should do some work here. I'm slightly worried. Only starting with 8 Vig and some tick damage. Stocko might be one shot.
I think he is.
Nice. Fucking hit, dude.
Oh, he misses done. She's there.
Yeah, there had to be a poise reset at some point.
Yep. I think if he had hit that unsheath after the charge attack, he might have been able to get the stagger, but I think the charge attack just took away the...
Yeah, so Stocko gets the Rod off and runs out and then switches to John Alabaster for the bonus damage. And this is a pretty ideal setup for early Falling Star Beast.
Really? Biggest fucking stall.
Chris is also immediately going for the Restore.
Yeah, Stocko's shown nothing here, so it's a smart play because he doesn't know what Stocko is doing
that
right
was
now.
close.
Oh.
Ah.
That was sketchy.
Oh, Stocko playing it really risky there. Oh my god.
And the Beast goes down. Nicely done by Stocko there. That will be his first square on the board. But Chris will answer right back with the Restore. We'll stick with Stocko to see his thoughts after Chris marks the square.
Get.
Seems pretty chill about it. But yeah, very nice Falling Star Beast. That is not like... Falling Star Beast is a very tricky fight, especially to do hitless, right? And under the pressure. Like, I cannot...
Yep.
I cannot, like... There is such a big difference between, like, doing a casual play... Like, even if you're just streaming, right? Like, doing a casual, whatever, hitless, and doing it in bingo, where you're also, because you're not, it's not like, oh, I just have to do it hitless. It's like, oh, I have to do it hitless and fast.
Yep.
There's a big difference. It's very difficult. That fight is really tough to take on early, and that was really nicely done by Stocko. Welcome inside. Welcome in. Looks like Chris is now just going to he's not going to sit on his prio. Looks like he's going immediately to Weeping for the dupe. I don't know. There's part of me that doesn't like it and part of me that does, because it's like you have prio. Why are you going to Weeping? But on the other hand, it's like the amount. It's a square plus a nice amount of early runes. You also set yourself up for Scar Seals and the Crimson Viridian medallions.
Yep.
And Misbegotten bosses. Like, I'd be surprised if any of those squares were rush, but there are 3 squares in Weeping that having a grace to come back to for later is pretty good. So yeah, I mean, the one big advantage Stocko will have is Dectus, right?
Yep. And he does set himself up for a Evergel as well. It looks like he's going to get the Runebear Grace and then pivot out. Just to have some Weeping presence, and then he's going to pivot out.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. Set it up for later so that way you can come back to it quickly. So once you get worried about Stocko like potentially sniping you on that square, you can just go ahead and grab it. But now he's just going to go ahead and get into Liurnia. So interesting board state here. Chris does have a lead on the board. Basically, it's 2.5 to 1 right now, assuming Chris does eventually take the Remembrance Square. But Stocko has the ability to get up to a +6 Alabaster, and he has full Dectus online, while Chris has no Dectus progress and no easy access to a Somber 5 or 6. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting start.
For sure.
I mean, Red Wolf very well could be the next square on the board, and maybe that's what Chris is using as his tell to go dupe, right? If you lose Red Wolf, Stocko could just go do Renala, so maybe go dupe right then.
Yeah, that is smart. Because there's not much of a reason to go to Stormveil at this point anymore.
No.
I mean, Tree Spirits.
Tree Spirits,
really the only thing.
Yeah, are there even any capital squares on this board? No.
No.
Yeah, that's normally a big value add for Godric, right? And if you have capital on the board, killing Godric does progress your map. It's kind of because it helps give you capital access, but that's going to be irrelevant on this one.
Yep. I mean, do see both of them getting into Liurnia around the same time. But as you said, Stocko does have map priority when it comes to Kaled at the very least. And he does have access to Altus now.
I think Stocko potentially does like this idea of column 5. Also potentially even like a column 5 row 1 type of deal. Because you have Radon and Crucible Names. You got Warrior Duo that have nice synergy. Scar Seals goes underground. Also you can do that with Ancestor Spirit. There's some interesting synergies on there. I could see him trying to work the top and right side of the board here.
Yep.
Also, I gotta say, Alabasters is a great weapon for the board. At the start of like the 2 big bosses on this board are both Gargs, right? The Blackblade Kindred and the Valiant Gargs. Gargs are weaker to magic, and you don't want to be doing slash damage against them at all.
And Alabasta is great poise damage.
Yeah. Great stance pressure. I believe it's just standard damage. And the if you get the magic damage as well, which doesn't add a ton, but enough. Also, you have plenty of endurance due to the low stamina cost of using the Alabaster. And as a result, you should not have to worry about not being able to roll due to lack of stamina here.
And then another good a good thing with the Gargs with certain weapons is if you have a weapon that goes from the top down, you're more likely to miss because they've got that thigh gap. But if you have something with a sweeping attack, you're more likely to hit their ankles. And so again, Alabasta very good here for that.
Also, Chris is going left side. He's going to get this Grace here, which sets him up for Explosive Physic better, and then go grab the Academy key. Meanwhile, Stocko is just immediately rushing to EG so that he can get his weapon upgraded. He's got 23k runes. He has the 6. He still will need to go pick up the 5. I'm not sure if he does that here, if he will come back for it later. But he will be able to get at least a +4 online, if not more.
Yep. Yeah, I did not know you can not aggro the dragon by going on left side as well. I knew the right side, but left side I did not know that.
Yeah. Looks like Chris is immediately going in for Red Wolf. Now, I've got to say, in Academy, there's not a ton of value here. Like, there's a Liurnia boss, right? But outside of that, really no... Well, then I guess there's one golden seed that is, even still, it's a little out of the way. But other than that, not a ton of value in Academy.
Yep.
Normally, it is fairly strong. I don't know, maybe on this board, it's not worth it. But we'll see if it pays off for Chris here.
Yep.
Because, yeah, Stocko might just be sending this line. Like, Stocko might go Radon right now.
That would be quite powerful.
Yeah, Griffey, Alabaster's is, like, really broken. The stamina cost for it is just... It's, like, half. Like, I don't know why. It's clearly... Something was wrong when they made the game, and they just never fixed it. Like, I don't know why. There's not, like... I don't think there's a lore reason or anything why it's like that. It just is.
Yep. And especially when like, you can use it to its full potential even without having the intelligence for it, which usually when you don't have a stat for a weapon, it has higher stamina drain. But Alabastus just doesn't.
Well, it does have higher stamina drain. The thing is, the increased stamina drain is a percentage-based modifier. But,
Okay.
like, a higher percentage of nothing is still basically nothing.
Basically,
Yeah.
Yeah.
0 times anything is still 0, right? Obviously, it's a bit more than 0, but... Yeah, like, unwieldable Alabaster still has a much lower stamina drain than a normal greatsword. Much lower.
You know me, I love my bingo, so I do really like this play here from Stocko. Just to straight up rush the line.
Yeah. I mean, the square you got to be worried about is the Liurnia bosses, right?
Yep. With his current progress, that's really the only one that he truly has. I mean, maybe Scar Seals as well, but if he gets Radon, it'll become more likely for him.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
get
this is great too from Stocko, because Stocko can now instead grab the 5 by Radon. So, like, I mean, he essentially has a Somber 6 right now. He's going to be in Altus, and we're 25 minutes into the game. Really strong board presence in map, or character and map development from Stocko. But Chris here looking for more board presence, fighting the Red Wolf.
Now, I wonder if we're gonna see Stocko rush Eleonora at all just to get rid of that bingo threat from Chris. Before
Well, Radon takes care of it, right?
Oh, true.
Yeah. Maybe it is Eleonora, though. Incredibly clean Red Wolf from Chris there. We'll check in with
Very.
Stocko.
Really?
I wanted to say that he's doing really good, but I just, was scared of commentator curse.
Alright, so we're killing tree spirits right now? Alright, fine. Let's go.
Looks like Stocko might be pivoting off to Tree Spirits, and Chris is going to go dupe, too.
If you had, it seems torrent, whereas there is, but I can take gathering place.
See, and this is powerful for Chris here because he could this will set him up for Scar Seals, Evergels, and the block on it. All he has to do is take the elevator down,
Yeah.
which is, objectively a very bad way to do it because that elevator is just so long.
You know,
But
sorry, yeah. No, you go ahead, sorry.
but he does also have the ancestor spirit down there, so it's not a complete waste of time to have to do it that way. Some boards it most certainly is. I feel like this board it kind of is a little bit better suited for it, so it's not a complete loss.
Yeah, sorry, Ginger, my ADHD meds have not kicked in, which tell me to like, hey, don't talk over someone.
No, you're fine.
The one thing I actually think is starting to interest me now is row 3 for Stocko. Right, like you have Altus Prio, you have a weapon online, you get the Crimson Cerulean Viridian, that's very doable in Altus. I mean, the only problem is he did not. One of the reasons why I love the Crimson Cerulean Viridian square actually is you can start with a Crimson Talisman. And if you do start with a Crimson Talisman, that square becomes so much easier because you don't need Weeping. There's other ways to get the Crimson Medallion. You can get the you can either go to Weeping or get the Assassin's Crimson Dagger. Alternatively, there is a Hero's Grave in Altus with the Crimson Seed. I don't think we've ever seen that one in a match though, but it does count for the square. That being said though, man, like I love starting with that Crimson Talisman because then you can just do Altus Margit and the guy in the Bloodhound Knight in Liurnia. And there you go. That's the square.
Yep. I do need to learn that cave. I know where it is. I just need to learn the actual cave.
Yeah,
That
it's
way
not
running
there.
through it isn't scary.
There's a skip that you can do. It's like pretty free. It's just like a little jump. It's a very linear cave. It's just longer. If you do the little skip, you save about probably 15-20 seconds. There is a crackhead, more insane version of the skip that you can do that saves like an additional 3 seconds, but I would not recommend it. All right, so Stocko will be fighting his first Tree Spirit as Chris goes for the dupe here.
Now he does have to be careful with his vigor this low. This Tree Spirit is actually very dangerous.
Also, as a note, you should be using your fist when using the mausoleum thing. Chris went with the halberds a bit slow. Well, just a bit inconsistent, right? With the fist, it's the same every single time. You don't need a certain weapon.
Yep.
All right, there's the dupe from Chris there. You know, I think the more I look at this board, the more I think Chris is going to have to go take the elevator to go underground.
I think so.
Yeah, I think he's going to need Scar Seals at some point. Stocko could also really easily build pressure on the diag, the bottom left to top right diag. I think Chris needs Scar Seals. Like, so he doesn't have to go now. But I think he will need Scar Seals before he can get Radon down. And as a result, will need to take the elevator.
Yep. And so I do like this play here by Stocko. Getting the Altus Tree Spirit, it shows absolutely nothing to your opponent that you got the Altus one. That is rough for Stocko.
Yeah, that's the first half of the match. Really just, just unlucky getting hit by the ballistas there. God, I swear to God, this game, like you do these runs so many times and you just end up in a weird spot. It's somehow you get ballisted in the face. It just happens.
Yep.
Sucks, but it happens.
That's why I like to run in from the left or right side.
Yeah.
Because then you avoid the ballistas. If you run straight through the middle, you're likely to get hit by something. But and I'm talking like coming in through the middle from the
Yeah.
left or right side, and then just running up the way that he is. But yeah, back to the tree spirits. I like this tree spirits play because it does not really tell Chris that, hey, I've been to Altus. Because for all Chris knows, like he's also has been into Stormvale at some point
Mhm.
and has gotten the Stormvale and the Hero's Grave one. But again, this is like kind of a hint to Chris. He could definitely think like, was that the Altus one?
Yeah.
And if he does think that, I think we'll see a pivot straight to Scar Seals, if that is the case, which would be very smart of him to do.
Yeah. Also a great point by Ishi in chat. Because if Stocko does do the Radon play, if Chris goes elevator, he can take away a lot of the value out of the Radon play by stealing Scar Seals and or Ancestor Spirit. That's a very good point, Ishi.
Yep.
Chris does get his weapon up to +4. I would like to see Stocko get up to +6 at some point. Just needs that 5, but he's going to go ahead and fight the Altus Tree Spirit here. Yeah, this is
Very
interesting.
dangerous.
Because Stocko's really prioritize like map and character development, while Chris prioritized early squares. That being said, though, now Chris is forcing Stocko to do some squares that he probably didn't want to do, right? Like, he wasn't planning on doing Tree Spirits. Then he saw Chris marked Red Wolf, and it's like, now I have to do Tree Spirits, right?
Yep.
So we'll see, is Chris sending Stocko to do less desirable squares? Can he make up for the amount of map presence that he's lost? He's already equal on character development currently, because they both have +4. Now, Stocko can get +6 at some point.
Ooh, takes a big hit there.
Yeah, that was a nice roll by Stocko there. If he would have healed, he probably would have died. But nice job keeping your composure, dodge the next attack, then once you get some space, get a heal off. Really nicely done. Also, I think you're starting to notice here, like, this is where you would love to have the +6 damage on Alabaster, right?
Yep.
And Chris is rushing this, going Crimson Cerulean Viridian.
Very heads up by Stocko to block this square.
That's Tree Spirits for Stocko. We'll check in with Chris as he fights the Bloodhound Knight. The boys are on great pace today. They're just doing fights at opposite times. We can just go back and forth, back and forth. Keep it up, gentlemen. Makes my life easy.
Choose tree spirits. That's fine.
Okay, Stocko is going back to Kaled. I believe we will be seeing a Radon play out of him.
He's got the health now. He can survive a hit from Radon. We know he's comfortable with the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And it does look like he's just going to grab the 5 here instead of in Radon's castle.
Chris here might just is going to Liurnia bosses. He really looks like he might want this bingo, right? Like, I think initially he was thinking column 2, then saw Tree Spirits got blocked. Okay, let's pivot. Let's really go hard for column 5 or row 5. And this is interesting too.
Good.
Well, Stocko's normally the aggressor with these early bingo threats, and now the shoe's on the other foot, right? So it's interesting.
Yep. And I really like this by Chris as well, because not only does it block Stocko's very dangerous threat with that column 5, but it progresses his own bingo line, which is also very dangerous in of its own right.
Yeah. Really clean there from Chris. Man, he is he's locked in today. Like he is. This is the like execution wise, whatever. Like this is the best I've seen Chris play. Like it's
wonderful.
Locked in, man.
Mm-hmm.
You can just see it, right? Like Chris is a player too that like he can normally sometimes he gets really nervous and stuff, but he is just locked in, full focus, cool, calm, collected. He looks like just an assassin out there, man.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna see the 5-time champion now, Bowls carrying Knight. This will also be an Everjail from Chris as well, getting a lot of synergy, not only getting his Liurnia bosses, but progressing towards other squares. All good, Ginge? Down goes the 5-time. That's Liurnia boss number 4 and Everjail number 1 for Chris.
Right.
Sorry, that also was a sorcery check for Chris.
I'm back.
Unfortunately, Chris got the Scholar's Armament, which cannot be used for sorcery only. But Bowls is a sorcery check. It could have been something good. Wasn't, but these little things matter. One thing in bingo that is really important is being able to try to put RNG in your favor, right? It works out in the long run, right?
Yep.
So little things like routing in extra weapon checks, routing in extra sorcery checks for sorcery only. These are things that like experienced bingo players know, right? Because it is RNG, right? But the more spins you get at the slot machine, the more likely you are to hit the jackpot, right? And I think it's something that can be very frustrating for, especially when you first start playing, and even, you know, at a higher level, right? It can be frustrating too, because like RNG can have an impact in single matches, but in the long run, in a 9-game regular season and also in playoffs where it's best of 3 sets, it should hopefully work out for it. It should hopefully work out pretty even to those who are able to route in checks better. Stocko is fighting Eleonora and Chris is doing the Erdtree avatar, so we're gonna actually stick on the dual screen here. This Erdtree avatar is being done by Chris because it is a Liurnia boss and will give him the explosive physic.
You really just see Alabasta's just how powerful it is coming into play yet again, with the fact that NPC enemies, they just get kind of knocked back and forth with it.
Yeah, Stocko was trying to use gravity clumps though on Eleonora. I don't quite get that, especially when Alabaster go burr. Chris gets the Erdtree avatar down, and we'll go check in with Stocko. Stocko, just tap or two. You're getting too fancy, big dog. No!
That's an instant kill.
Eleonora screams in victory too after she claims Stocko.
In a very delicate position here, man.
Stocko needs to stop fucking around with these gravity clumps. They're doing nothing. Like, I don't know why he's fucking with these. Just tap R2.
Yep.
I'm sure there is some tech there, but like the stuff that is like
NPCs.
Yeah, it can work. I know that like there was like it was done well with Millicent, but like you need to value like what's the value of the tech versus my other options, right? Because you can just do this. He should have done this from the start.
Yep. You just juggle her. There's really not much that she can do until you run out of stamina.
Stocko. Chris is fighting a Don, Thief of Fire. We're also seeing
Evergel
Stocko.
boss, Liurnia boss, very good play.
Stocko having +0 flasks is kind of screwing him too. All right, there's 6 Liurnia bosses out of Chris.
What is he trying to do here, bro? You trying to bingo me?
Stocko, yeah, trying to bingo someone is the name of the game.
No.
So a little note for you guys. With
Yeah,
that fire
okay.
attack, you
Nicely
can
done,
use the
Stocko.
pillars to block the fire attack.
Cool.
Okay, so Stocko is going for Radon. This could also give him Crucible Knight, Misbegotten Duo, and Misbegotten bosses. I don't know, man. You know Chris is in weeping. This
Yep.
is scary. Relying on Crucible Knight. I think you got to go for Kaled Sorcery only.
I think so too.
Go Kaled Sorcery only and transpose potentially into column 4. Right, like, because you can't rely on winning, like, when Chris can just do Scaly and Leonine, you can't rely on winning Misbegotten bosses. Chris is fighting the Miranda plant.
Cool.
The synergy with Chris's Liurnia bosses was just really on point because he's got a massive lead on Evergels at this point. That gave him progress towards the Cerulean Crimson and Viridian Talismans.
Yep. Also, I want to say, because both Wiki and Sean are in the chat right now, there was going to be commentary. There will not be commentary on that game due to streaming issues, but there's, after the 3 Elden Squares matches are wrapped up, there's going to be a huge watch party, battle of the refs in the Crucible, Wiki versus Sean. We'd love to see you all join us in Zero Scratch. You can see the link. It's the Playbus Bingo. That's the Discord where it is. So if you want to join us for that, there'll be a big watch party. You can hang out, talk with all of us, and watch the games. We'd love to see you there.
It's gonna be a good match. Battle of the refs. I like it a
Yeah,
lot.
battle of the refs. Yeah.
And we say that because Wiki and Sean have just been really coming in clutch with the reffing.
Yeah, well, you know, Sean was the OG head ref, and now Wiki's coming for his neck. So it's the battle. Stocko is going for sorcery only here. Let's see what she sells. They're both going for sorcery only. Magic Glint Blade, don't think about it.
Stocko definitely does have priority on this with the fact that he's got his physic, he's gonna get the int tier, and he has the cemetery shade just right there.
Yeah. If Stocko can get this snipe on Chris, this would be really big. If Chris does go for it. Yeah, Chris is in trouble now here because he's like, oh, I don't have first step. Shit, what do I do? You can see even he's slumped. He's like, fuck. I was not planning. I forgot about this. I've made a grave mistake. Especially if Stocko can get a big snipe here and kind of survive this early game onslaught from Chris. I really think this could turn around for him, right? Because he has such a big lead on map. His map is more developed. He's in Altus, right? Like, everything in this mid to late game is pointing towards Stocko as long as he can address these threats. And especially if he can address these threats while sniping Chris.
Yep. I don't think Chris has any progress towards Altus. He's been so focused on
No,
getting
nothing.
these early squares and doing all this, he's got nothing.
0. Yeah, and I mean, the one good thing for Chris is like Stocko already has a meteorite staff online. Chris will probably need to go to Kaled at some point, right? So going to Kaled now is not the worst thing in the world. But yeah, this is pretty huge for Stocko, I cannot lie. And I will say, even though the score says 6-3, this is very even. This is a very even game, right? There are some 6-3 games where it's like, okay, it's been a lot of snipes, someone's in trouble. This is a very even 6-3 game because of how much of, like, Stocko has such a big map lead.
Yeah, Stocko has a Grace close to Clean Rat Knight duo. He's got all of Altus pretty much just
Rodan set up. He
uncontested
can
at this
go.
point.
Well, also he could go do 10 Sacred Flash charges, right?
Yep.
Force Chris into Misbegotten bosses or Scar Seals. Chris gets cummed on. Didn't really have an impact on the match, just had to note it. All right, we'll
Sorry
go full
about that.
screen. Oh, you're all good. You're all good. You don't need to apologize. We'll go check in with Stocko here as he goes for sorcery only.
Rush 2 misbegotten bosses and weeping.
Oh, so nice.
Magical Blade's an incredible sorcery, especially for the shade because it's delayed. He normally teleports like when you cast, so because of the delayed come out, it's really nice. Big square for Stocko there. We'll check in with Chris.
You know, I realized that last second.
He's displeased, but I don't think it's the end of the world up for him. He didn't waste too much time buying the sorcery, and he's gonna need Kaled anyways.
Yep. He's now got some Kaled progress, which is really good for him. It looks like Stocko is gonna go clear up Sacred Flash charges here, which will put big pressure on Chris.
Yeah.
And he is gonna have to ride the elevator down.
Or just do the Misbegotten bosses, but
Which
Scaly
he does
and
have
Leonine
progress
stock,
to both,
yeah.
so, yep.
Now, Chris could just go... Chris does not have Altus. So a play for Chris could be here. The one advantage of not having Altus is the festival has not started. So Crucible Knight, Misbegotten Warrior Duo are still available. I actually think it would be a really nice play for Chris here to go Crucible Knight, Misbegotten Warrior Duo. That gets you a square. Then you don't have to do Leonine, you just do Scaly.
Yep. That's actually massive. This is actually really good for Chris if he does see and decide to do that.
He
And
does
it looks
go
like
for it.
Let's go,
Heads
Chris.
up play by Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Really heads up play. Saying, hey, you thought I had a map disadvantage? Really, it's an advantage. Watch this. Love it. Great play by Chris.
And you can just see the difference in his flash compared to Stocko's, even just at +2.
Yeah.
It looks like Stocko is now upgrading and is going to get Sacred Flash +10.
Yep, that's it. 7 red and 3 blue equals 10 charges. Chris is like, man, he got a lot of Physic Floss tiers. And Stocko's going for Radon now, but is it too little too late? In terms of the Crucible Knight Misbegotten Warrior Duo at least, which is a big value out of this, because Stocko has to kill Radon. I think he will be relying on a skill issue here from Chris.
Yep.
Also, Stocko now has a massive flask advantage because he now has 10 plus 3 flasks.
Yep.
Also, Stocko, grab the 5, upgrade to +6. Yeah, he is. So he's not going to talk to Jaren here. He's just going to immediately upgrade to +6.
Which is smart. It's a little bit
Yeah.
of a time sink, but I mean it's from a 4 to a 6 Alabasta, which is just an absolutely massive increase.
Yeah. I think if you have a +4 and you're going for Radon, if you're just grabbing the 5, don't level. But if you have the 6 from Falling Star Beast, I would stop and go level.
Yep.
Maybe if it's just an all-out race, I would potentially have that could be an exception.
Well, it
Stocko
also
though,
depends on the weapon as well. Like if you have a
Is
bleed
Sto-
weapon or a frost weapon.
Stocko pivoting again. Looks like he's thinking Draconic. Draconic to try to rush column 4. Man, this game is so interesting. I love this game. This is such a fun game, man.
Oh yeah, it's just
It's
like
such
back
an
and
interesting
forth with the
game.
bingo thread.
I love to see these kind of games like this where players are in a very they're in a very different position. They're trying to figure out where their opponent is and like trying to work the board in their favor with the resources that they have available. It's such an interesting game. Like obviously
These are
it's
the ones
fun.
we like to see.
Yeah, like it's fun seeing players race for squares, but it's also fun trying to see like, hey, I have this hand, you have this hand. They're very different. Let's see who can play it better.
Yep. And this actually a really heads up play here by Stocko doing this because, like you said, it pushes his line, which becomes a very difficult line to block, especially if they both go for BBK. Stocko has the clear advantage on that fight.
All right, we're gonna go back to the dual screen. Also, again, if you want to get into bingo, link in the Discord. We'd love to teach you how to play. We have coaches. We can help you. Do all that great stuff. We'd love to help. Chris gets the Misbegotten down. Now, it does not count as a full Misbegotten boss until he kills the Crucible Knight. And he's going to use parry strats. I know you are, Bradley. I'm just... Let me feed off you and do free promo. All right? I know you're in the Discord. All right?
Hoosier was actually the one who got me into bingo, helped me set it up, did some training matches with me. Like, I learned a lot because of the Discord. And I mean, I'm in the Golden Order now, so.
Yeah. And look, you're gonna be bad when you start. It's okay. No one... Ginger's was incredible. He fought Patches with an unwieldable fork and then used Flame Cleanse Me to buff in his first ever match. Stocko goes down!
I was the only one to die to Patches. Okay?
Stocko goes down! Chris!
I have the one and only death to Patches.
Yeah. I don't even know if that was small red bar syndrome or just DTS go burr syndrome.
A little bit of both. I think
little bit of
mostly
both, yeah.
DTS go burr.
Gotta say, like, man, Chris has just played so much, so clean today. Like, he is locked the fuck in.
Oh yeah. So I actually learned something interesting about the Crucible Knights that I did not know, is that you do not take the riposte.
Yeah.
You do more damage if you just get the R2s in.
Chris
instead
goes
of taking
down.
The riposte. Well, Chris doesn't go down. Crucible Knight
Well,
goes
Crucible
down.
Knights go down.
Not getting ulted for some reason.
Stocko has realized that Chris is just refusing to get Altus. That's a telltale sign, right? Because you can't do Crucible Knight Misbegotten Warrior Duel without Radon. Unless he would have hypothetically done Radon with summons, but that didn't happen. Like, there's just no way. Now, everyone runs from this attack. You can roll it, but Jesus Christ, is it tight? I would not recommend it.
Yeah, no. Just run from it.
The risk reward is just not there. All right, DTS goes down. Let's see what Chris thinks about this.
Well done, Stocko.
That's not good.
Okay, Chris is going Misbegotten bosses. I'm not sure if you could hear it, but there was a little quiet. That's not good. Stocko's losing a bit of time due to indecision here. He was thinking about doing Radon, but I think he's now just going to go straight down for the Moose. No, he's going for BBK. SFP, you can do whatever you want in a bingo match. You can summon, you can use Torrent. It is about winning. It doesn't matter how you get there. It matters that you get the square. You can fight however you want to fight.
Yep. I think this is a misplay by Chris by continuing Misbegotten Bosses. He's shown his priority on it. Yes, it blocks that potential threat by Stocko, but I think the BBK into Ancestor Spirit is a much bigger threat, knowing that he has Radon. He knows it's not dead yet, but it's still dangerous. And if he doesn't pivot to the elevator right now, I'm going to be very disappointed in him.
He is going elevator. No, he's going to he's in Morn. No, okay, he went to Waypoint Ruins. That tells me he's going.
He has
the
to.
Moose.
That's his only play here. Because he knows Radon's not dead.
Let's go over here.
So he knows that he can beat him to Ancestor Spirit as long as he.
Well, unless Stocko would have rushed it. Well, Chris has to play a 50-50 game. Did Stocko go BBK or did Stocko go Moose?
Yep. Now this BBK here is extremely dangerous because this guy hits like a semi-truck.
Oh yeah, he's... Yeah, case in point.
Now luckily he can survive the attack, but it's still extremely dangerous. But at the same time, you do get 90k runes from this guy, so very, very powerful in terms of your stats to get this kill as well.
Stocko's whiffing a lot here.
It's a great sword. Swing and hit.
That is one of the downsides of Alabaster, at least comparative to other greatswords. I mean, it's still good range because it is a greatsword, but it has. Okay. I think it is the shortest greatsword.
Yep. Just a kind of technical keynote for the viewers here. If you ever fight this guy, and he does that like upward to downward slash that creates a wave of fire on the ground, if you dodge or run to the left, you will always dodge that attack. If you dodge to the right, you're more likely to get hit, but dodging to the left, you'll dodge it every time.
Okay, so Chris is looking at his map while he goes down. I'm not sure what he's thinking about.
No, we're not jumping down.
Stocko's got to finish this here. Like, you're too deep. You got to pull this out. You should be close to another stagger. I think one more tap or two will do it. Yep. God, I don't even actually count poise. I've played this game so much I can just look at stuff and be like, yeah, it should stagger right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that just comes with experience.
Yeah.
Please come.
See how far off that attack was? If you dodge to the left, it's just nowhere near you. One more tap R2 should do it.
Hell of a job by Stocko.
Let's go, Stocko.
Oh. Okay. Never mind, I guess.
This will be a huge stipe here for Chris.
Yeah, I don't think Stocko's going for it. This is going to be interesting, though. So, this end game, fascinating, right? Stocko has the Altus lead. Chris, though, is well set up for other squares. He can do Ancestor Spirit, Scar Seals, and Explosive Physic easily. Also, Everjails. The question is, where does Chris get his last square? Because Stocko has priority on basically everything else.
Honestly, I like Stocko's chances here a lot more.
Yeah, the one thing I don't like from Stocko is Chris isn't in Altus. He's going for an Ancestor Spirit now. Don't do your Altus squares. You have prio on this. You're behind. You need to sit on this prio, right? Yeah. Like, you're behind in square count, right? Sit on this prio. Go for things that Chris can do without Altus. Go for Clean Rot Knight Duo. Go for Explosive Physic. Go for Everjails, right? Because Stocko needs to win these squares off of Chris. Chris has no Altus. You cannot allow Chris to beat you without Altus in this position.
Yeah.
Stocko knows Chris has no Altus.
Yep. I agree. It would be much better for him to probably go Clean Rot Knight Duo into Everjails. Focus on getting a Scar Seal play potentially. Well, with knowing that Chris has Weeping, you're probably going to lose that square.
Yeah, like, you need to assume by not pushing Ancestor Spirit, Stocko's operating under the assumption that Chris push Underground, right? So if Chris is pushing Underground, he has Ancestor Spirit and Scar Seals. You also know that he's not progressing Altus at all. I get why Stocko's doing Warm Face, because it's a very fast Altus square, but he should be doing squares not in Altus, because Chris can't contest this.
Yep.
Stocko actually using the heads up play, using the Magic Gaunt Blade.
Dude, it's goddamn Stocko Sunday on a Friday.
Baby. Oops. Hey, fucker. Whoops. Nope. Go.
Stocko did piss off a extra one of the tree guardians, whatever the hell they're called. Tree guardians? Is that the actual name? I don't know.
I have no idea what they're called, to be completely honest with you.
No. Bastard. Not being a little bitch.
One more shot should do it. All right, there's Worm Face. 8-8 game. All right, Chris will now be going for the Moose. Stocko, go Clean Rot Knight Duo. I think that's the play.
I think Clean Rot
going
Knight Duo and potentially Evergels.
See, he might be digging his own grave here by going Radon, because he's just doing all this. He's claiming his prio, but he doesn't have enough prio. So it's like, this is a reference. I don't want to bring politics into it, obviously, but like in a campaign, at least in the United States, right? Like, there are certain states that are going to go one way or the other. Where people fight over is those battleground states, those states that can flip. It's the same thing in this situation in this bingo game, right? These squares that could go either way, like Clean Rot Knight Duo, like Explosive Physic, these sorts of squares are the ones you need to be working on. They're the ones you need to win, right? Yep. If you're just focusing on getting your own squares, you're gonna be in trouble.
Where's Chris going here?
Chris is going Everjails. Chris is realizing Stocko didn't go Moose. I don't need to worry about it. I'm just gonna go Everjails. I've set up the Moose. I'll go Everjails. Clean
up his priority. Yep. Smart.
And like, this is still a contested square, because like he does have prio, but Chris doesn't. But Stocko could go contest it. Like, I think this makes sense for Chris.
Very heads up.
Because Chris has to win everything without Altus, and Chris is saying, "Hey, I got a huge lead on Ancestor. I don't need to do this right now. Stocko could be pushing Everjails. I'm gonna take this away from him." The way that I like the way Chris is playing this end game a bit better. We'll go check in with Stocko though for Radon. We've seen a lot of low-scale Crucible Knights. Everyone loves a Radon.
Very nice use of the magic glint shard. What is that spell called again?
Magic Glint Blade.
Magic glint blade. Very, very nice use of it here to keep the poise damage up, get the damage in. And Chris gets the Crucible Knight down, celebrating with a little wiggle.
Redaniel goes down. Chris is doing his last ever jail, which will be this Ancient Hero of Zamor, and it will give him a Scar Seal.
Very well done.
All right, so for Stocko, if you're Stocko, what's the path to victory? Probably Altus bosses, Ancestors, Altus bosses, Clean Rot Knight duo, Gargs, and Deathroot. I think that has to be the path for victory. Path to victory for Stocko.
I agree.
Now he might try to snipe Explosive Physic. This could be bad though. We could see a snipe here. No, because Chris is going Moose. If Stocko can take Explosive Physic off of Chris, this is huge. Chris already has this avatar dead. The only way Chris could probably stop this is if he explodes the Moose.
Yep, I was gonna say I would like to see an explosion on the Moose, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
He jumps around so much. I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is. I know why, Chris. I know why you want to go for this because you're like, oh, Stocko could be going Regal really fast. I think you need to just go take this Explosive Physic here. If you're Chris, take the Explosive Physic really quickly, and then go Moose. You still beat You still beat him if Stocko went Regal after.
No, there's a chance Chris still gets explosive here if he can kill the Moose fast enough.
He'd have to kill this Moose real fast. It's possible. I mean, it is just the Shifa Moose.
Where the hell is he? Dude, where the fuck did he go right there?
Whiffs are bad.
Yeah, I don't.
Slender ass back over here.
No, this isn't happening.
I should have.
Too many
No,
whiffs.
it's not happening.
And that's the problem with Moose, right? Like their hitboxes are so weird.
Stocko's using Magic Glint Blade on the avatar. Actually, a really nice job. Oh, Stocko's getting trolled hard.
Chris can get a stagger here. It'll be massive.
There's a stagger.
Now, lucky for him, this one does not heal.
Yeah, it is Little Moose.
You know, no, Chris loses this. He doesn't have the physic.
Oh, he doesn't even have the physic yet? Yeah.
Yeah, he straight up loses.
He's cooked.
God. Jesus Christ, you should not be this.
All right, there's the Ancestor Spirit for Chris. Stocko's pivoting to duo though. He's gonna blow up the duo, so you only have to blow up the second one. I think that's the idea. Blow up the Clean Rot Knight. A double square this late in the game would be massive for Stocko.
Absolutely.
But can he get it in time? Is it too greedy? Should he have just gone for Bofa? Because Chris is sending Third Church for the physic.
I think it's too greedy. Because he knows Chris has Liurnia bosses.
Yeah, especially because there's Feed 4 Death Root, so just blow up a Tibia. Blow up a Tibia. Well, except, I mean, the Tibias can fly, but...
Rambler showed us how that could be bad.
Okay, Stocko's going first up. He decided that he got scared.
This, yeah, a good call because that's way too greedy this late in the game. Knowing
No, Chris does not have Altus. Chris does not have Altus, but he has huge prio on Scar Seals. And he had prio on Physic, but he lost it by doing Moose when he did.
Yep. And he's going to get the Physic now, so this will be a snipe for him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, row one's not happening. Well, even if it does, it'd be a majority at that point anyways, right? So it doesn't really matter. It'd be a bingo majority if Chris gets row one. Also, if you're used to watching bingo brawlers, slight difference in this league, you do not have to block all the bingos to win by majority. It is just 13 squares. Realistically, I think Stocko will, because he probably will claim Altus bosses, but you do not have to.
Yep.
It is either majority or bingo, 13 or a bingo.
This is huge for Stocko. Like, massive for him.
Big for Stocko.
Well done, Stocko.
Gotta say,
Massive fight.
man, if Chris loses this one, this is gonna be tough for Chris because he's played this whole game so damn well, man.
That just kind of pisses me off.
Yeah, he's not happy. Like, this is one of those games where, like, man, it's tough to. If Chris has outplayed Stocko execution wise. Like, Chris's execution has been insane today.
Yep. It looks like he's going feed death route. It's very good of him to hold priority on Scar Seals here.
Yeah.
He knows that that's a completely uncontested square.
Yeah, I mean, this has been one of the matches of the season. I mean, it's hard to beat that Strumpelios match because, I mean, that one was just insane, right? Like, that one was crazy. But, like...
No, he's going clean right night duo. This is another
No.
snipe. No, Chris.
I gotta say, from my perspective, though, this has been my personal favorite match to commentate all season because it's just, I love the mind games of it. I love these players having to be in different positions and deal with what they have, right?
They started out exactly the same, but have pivoted to completely different stuff.
Also, I think you can see the demeanor on Chris is just changing a little bit, right? Like, you can, he was so locked in and confident. You can see kind of like head cocked back a little bit. Like, the demeanor is very different now from Chris. Jet Lee, welcome, man. It's good to see you, man. Thank you for the follow. All right, here's Clean Art Night Duo from Stocko. Clean Rots get destroyed by Alabaster. They literally can't do anything with the tap R2 span.
Now, usually this one can pull up his shield and, you know, stop your attacks. But with Alabastas, it just completely juggles them.
It's too fast.
It's those left and right freaking micro staggers that it does.
Yeah. Left, right, sit down. Nicely done by Stocko there. Gets the Clean Art Night Duo. Chris is going to get sniped again. He's now making his way towards Altus, but the lack of Altus is killing Chris here. Stocko's now going for Altus bosses. He has 2 down already in the Draconic Tree Sentinel and Wormface. I'm thinking we're going to be seeing Gillica. I think the wrap-up for Stocko will be Gillica, Tibia, also for the Death Root, and then probably Sanguine Noble would be my guess.
Yeah, Chris is in a really bad position here now.
Yeah, it's so hard not to, but doing the Moose when he did really killed him. Like, it's hard not to, because if Stocko goes Moose, you just lose.
Yep.
Right? But it really hurt him. Also, the other thing we're seeing the advantage of is, like, Stocko's, like, fights have just... Even though Chris's execution has been cleaner than Stocko's by a good margin today, Stocko doing the Falling Star Beast early, which Stocko's execution was brilliant on that, I must say. Getting this +6 Alabasters online. Also, he has the magic damage, which is a small buff, but a buff. He's just out damaging him, and his fights are faster, even though they're a little dirtier.
Yep.
What? Who's blowing me?
Oh.
Chris has not even been to Altus yet.
Yep. He doesn't even have the Caelodectus yet.
Yeah.
Where Stagger's at?
Also, I just want to say, guys, 2 more matches on the slate today. We have Stocko, or not Stocko, Ellie versus Moody. Another matchup of players who are 1-1, looking to get big wins. And then we will have Nexus versus Ratty. Tibia goes down for Stocko. That's Altus Boss number 4 and Deathroot number 1.
Nice Cav, I guess.
He's deciding on where to go here.
Cashmore, thank you for the sub. I really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting me and supporting the league. Chris is going Virgins. He has to. The 4 Altus bosses that Stocko has done. Ginger, thank you for the resub as well, and thank you for the hype train. Thank you so much.
Let's get the hype in the chat.
But the 4 Altus bosses that Stocko has done are DTS, Wormface, Gillica, and Tibia. So he just needs 1 more. Looks like Stocko's gonna make some progress towards Deathroot here.
What is Chris doing?
He's suffering from indecision.
Yeah.
The problem is doing Deathroot. Deathroot's kind of an Altus where you can do it without Altus, but you have to do the Assassin and you have to do the Shade and Liurnia, which sucks. Doing the Altus Tibia is much easier.
Is he trying to go through Abductor Virgin Duo?
Yeah, I think he is. He doesn't have any Abductus, and he barely has any Caelid progress. I think he has. He has to do it. I mean, also it is an Altus boss, right? It puts you right next to the Tibia once you kill him for the Deathroot. It's the only play, I think.
Yeah, getting sniped on sorcery only. I think his downfall.
Yeah. SFP, thank you so much for the gift sub. Thank you for the subs, guys. You're all being so generous. Thank you so much. I really, really do appreciate it. Helping me recoup my losses for the prize pool for this league.
I just want to say I'm really proud of Stocko in this match. He was down by a lot in the beginning, and he didn't let the pressure of that get to him, and has really just played a phenomenal game.
Yeah, he has. Because yeah, as a reminder, there is a big prize pool for the league. Well, big in relative terms. $300 will go to first, $200 for second, and then $100 for third place at the end of the season. As well as I think Rambler is we're going to have a vote for match of the year. I think Rambler, I don't know exactly the details, but I think there is going to be a prize for the best match of the season.
This is definitely a contestant. This has been a phenomenal match by both of these players.
Fun to watch. I have not set something up yet. I probably should set up a GoFundMe or something to set up so that you can donate to the prize pool. I just need to look into that because it's a bit more complicated due to like tax reasons.
See, that's a big problem where for Alabasta here, he does not have the int for it, and so you're gonna
he's
notice his
bonking.
weapon just bonking off of him.
Yeah, and Stocko's getting his third. Holy shit. Pray DM, thank you so much for the 10 gifted. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Stocko gets the assassin down. That is his third death route. Yeah, the virgins is really bad with Alabaster because if you don't have the int, the way it works is there's kind of a hidden stat in Elden Ring. It's called hardness. Certain enemies have different levels of hardness. If an enemy has a certain level of hardness, I think there's a total of 5 tiers. I don't know which tier it is. I think probably tier 2 or tier 3. Unwieldable weapons will bonk. So Alabaster's technically unwieldable because you don't have the int. First virgin down. Stocko's going to be killing the second tibia here. This should be fairly trivial. We'll stay with Chris here as he tries to get the virgins down.
Seriously? Damn.
Oh no! Chris gets grabbed! And he has to quit out.
I just take the death there. 'Cause now you're fighting with no health.
Yeah. I mean, I would have tried to mash. Like, maybe you have enough health to barely survive if you... So if you mash your triggers there, you can escape grabs faster. Normally it does 7 ticks of damage if you don't mash. I think if you mash optimally, you can get it down to 4 ticks. Like, I think you gotta just hope there's a chance you maybe can survive with optimal mashing. But yeah, Stocko here is about to go get the death route, and then he can just clean this up with Altus bosses.
Yep, he just needs one more and he's got Altus bosses.
Yeah.
So, I have a question for you, actually, who's about to feed for death route to Garou.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a little bit of a debate in a practice match I did recently. Do you have to get the rewards, or is it just the sound of him nom-nomming?
You mark it when you get the rewards.
Okay, because it says feed it to him, and if he's eating it, I mean...
Well, these things are specified in the rule book.
But he's literally going nom nom nom
Nom nom nom nom nom nom nom. Yeah, the reason why is just so like there's a clear indicator like for when you're supposed to mark. It's kind of like harder when yeah. But this will be the final Altus boss, and this will be the game to Stocko. Gotta say, hell of a game by both players, man.
Oh yeah.
Like really has been my personal favorite match to commentate this season. It's just been a really fun one. Chris has played his ass off. Like it's really tough to see either player lose this one. They both played so well. But huge congrats to Stocko. Very well deserved win. And this is gonna put him to 2-1, and that's gonna be really big for him in the recusants division as he looks to make a playoff push.
Finishing off with the glintstone.
And I know Chris is going to fall to 0-2, but he's a hell of a player, man. And I know he's going to get some wins, and we'll rattle off some wins later on this season. He's going to be still fighting hard for that playoff spot, man. GG's to Stocko, though. Hell of a job.
Hell yeah. What happened to Chris?
Very well played. To come back from,
you
know, being 3 squares down in the early game is really rough, and it can really mess with you mentally. and he just did not let it affect him and really kind of pushed this back for himself, and it was really, really good for him there in the end, especially.
Yeah, that's a good point too, especially because Stocko, normally most of the times the shoe's on the other foot. Stocko is a big aggressor typically. So oftentimes we see Stocko in like in Chris's situation where it's like, I'm the one pushing the line, right? So seeing him handle the pressure, really nice job by him. That was such an intense match. I'm going to give the players just a minute before we bring them in for the interview, and then we'll bring them in and get started. Also, I want to say massive thank you to Ginge. Please, guys, go give him a follow. He's an excellent content creator and Elden Ring player. If you can give him a follow, it would be greatly appreciated if you can show him that support.
Appreciate you.
Also, thank you guys so much for the level 4 hype train. All the subs and bits. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much for the support. It means the world. All right, we'll
Thank
go
you
ahead.
for putting on this competition.
We'll go ahead and bring the players in.
Thank you. I'm so fucking hyped. I thought that was a pretty good match.
Welcome in, gentlemen. Welcome in, Chris. We'll start with Stocko.
Huber's jump scare. Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry, Huber jump scared you. But welcome in, guys. Welcome in. First things first, I want to say that was one of my favorite matches to commentate.
Oh yeah,
all season. It was an incredible game. GG's to both of you. The execution was incredible. You both played great. Stocko, man, it felt like the shoe was on the other foot this game. It was almost like I had the camera had the perspectives flipped, because we saw Chris rushing the early threats while you were going ahead and progressing your map. I mean, you were, especially through the early game, playing from behind. How are you feeling in the early game, and how are you able to collect yourself and pull this out in the late game?
Well, yeah, I've learned my lesson from the past, where just rushing early stuff, not being able to deal with later stuff. So I thought this was a board that showed that pretty clearly. So that's why I made my moves to do it in the late game. Yeah, I mean, that was just something I learned, lessons learned over practice matches. So I felt pretty good about having Altus. I was a little worried about losing a lot of those he made a lot of early threats, but when he never showed that he had Altus, I felt okay about my blocks.
Yeah, that was the Altus progress was huge. Like, this was such an interesting match to watch, because like you guys were both navigating the same board with very different hands. And especially like the torrent only snipe was really tough too.
Yeah.
Chris skipped first step.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
that's
it
what won him
later
the
kind of
square.
came back to bite him in the butt a little bit, but it definitely helped in the early game.
I had to explain. All right.
Yeah, but now for you, Stocko, obviously, you moved to 2-1. This recusants division, there's so many of you guys fighting for these playoff spots. It's a big win today. You got wins over Chris and Ellie now. How are you feeling about the season so far, and your chances at making the playoffs here?
I'm feeling pretty good. I've got my eyes set on playoffs, and I got a message for Durf. Durf, I'm going to see you in the playoffs, and I'm coming for you.
Oh, snap.
Say Stocko Durf Bowl in the playoffs?
Yep. Durf, you better do your best to get there, because I'm going to be there. And when you get there, I'm going to squash you.
Ooh.
I like it.
I love it, Stocko.
Yep.
Well, great job, man. Massive congratulations on the win today. It was a hell of a game. Really, really proud of you, dude. Just a great game from you. Chris, do you have a moment?
Explosive physics gave me testicular torsion.
That was a rough one to watch.
Same with Clean Run Night. That is all I have to say. I'm sleepy.
Yeah, that's fair. I just want to say, I know it's very tired. I know it's very late for you, but I just want to say, man, you played a great game today. Your execution was, especially in the early game, was just incredible, man. You looked awesome. That was a game that, I mean, you guys both played so well today. It's tough to see either of you lose that one.
Yep.
I know you're gonna bounce back and get some big wins and be fighting hard for playoffs. I'm really proud of you, dude. How you were able to play and handle yourself, and great job today.
Thanks, Hoob.
Yep, it's a
GG,
tough
Stocko.
loss, but Chris, you really came to game, and we could see it in your eyes the whole match. You were just determined, focused. Like you played really well. I
Did
think
you really see that in my cold, sad, tired eyes?
we could see the
Yeah.
determination.
No, I mean you were. Yeah, I mean you kind of saw the difference in your demeanor, like in the end game, like after the snipes. But like, I mean, you could just see it in your eyes. Like you were locked the fuck in the early game. Like your fights were so clean. You were playing so well. Like, I mean, your execution today really was incredible. You played fantastic Elden Ring. Just hell of a job, man. Hell of a job.
Oh yeah. And like who said, this was a really fun match to commentate on, because you both had completely different game plans, and it was really interesting to see it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Stocko, obviously big congrats to you as well.
Yeah,
And
congrats.
thank you so much, gentlemen. That's gonna do. Please go give all three of these guys a follow. Also, make sure to go. Wait, let me go to follow Chris Cross on YouTube, guys. He's a great YouTuber. He's been working really hard on a new video. He beat all of Elden Ring blindfolded.
Insane.
He's working really hard on editing that video. Make sure to go sub to him, turn on notifications and everything, because that video is going to be one of the best Elden Ring videos ever made when it does come out. So make sure to sub to him and go check that out. We're going to take a little bit of a break here while the ads run. Make sure to follow all these guys again. Jamesy, can you say goodbye? Good boy. Oh, we have the cats.
Which James? Which James?
Oh, yeah, the cats are here. Big
Kitty
bingo
time.
cats. Yeah.
Dude, I thought you called Ginger Jamesy for half a
Yeah.
second, dude.
And
He does talk to me like I'm like a pet or something. It's kind of weird.
And we'll see you guys all
Who's
here.
just into that thing?
We're gonna take a few minutes. Next match is Ellie versus Moody, and we will have Dagger, who's one of our great Crucible players and first-time commentator, I believe. And we're very excited to have him on as well. So we'll see you guys all in just a little bit. Be right back.
Please become Elden Lord.